So why are we doing top 50?
I don't know. Because we played so many roll.
Go!
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Jayne.
And we're Spiel Mill. And this is our top 50 roll&writes, starting with 41 through 50. We played so many roll&writes over the last couple years because Jayne has been sick and it's been really hard for us to get to the table. So we found that roll&writes are something that we can easily adapt so she doesn't have to leave her seat, and we can play from our respective corners of the living room.
And so we've played something like 150, 140 roll&writes, and we've made a lot of adaptations to play them from the recliner, so while basically in front of the TV. We use a dice app and all that stuff. So we've played a bunch, and including a bunch of print and plays. So we had a chance to sort of experiment and find out which ones we like the best. So we thought it makes sense to do a top 50.
Yeah, we're going to do another couple videos that will be up as well on adaptive gaming, on how we did that, how we were able to make sure that we could play roll&writes from our chairs without being at the same table together, without having to, have dice in front of us. So we'll do that a little bit later. But for now, this is our 50 through 41.
All right. So what's your number 50?
So my number 50 is one that we actually did never implement on our shared system. And if we did, it would be much higher, I'm certain of it. And that is Imperial Settlers Roll&Write by Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Games. And it's the Imperial Settler system. A lot of people have played those bigger games, but it's boiled down into a roll&write. And it was, I think, one of the first roll&writes we played that was really kind of chunky and did a lot of the sort of resource gathering that is so satisfying, fires all those little dopamine things in my brain. So my number 50 is Imperial Settlers Roll&Write.
So my number 50 is actually a print and play and roll&write. We backed on Kickstarter, and I think this one could go up with more plays. It's so open-ended at the beginning that I struggle with it a little bit, but it's a pretty cool theme, and it has pretty cool gameplay, and I do like the end game a lot in the Sunshine City. I do think this one's really good. I just think I struggle with a little bit with the open-endedness at the beginning. So it's number 50. And all of our games in our top 50 roll&writes are good games, I would say, from a roll&write perspective. They're good roll&write games. They may not be a roll&write game may not give you the feel of a full table game, but as we said, they provide a value for us, and I'm sure they provide a value for many others. So in this case, Sunshine City, it's basically about developing solar power, wind power, or something for solar power mainly for your city. And it's a bit abstract. You do need like an additional piece, like a meeple. So we did adapt this to our system, but we had little pieces that we can use for certain games. So
yeah, that's a good one. I may talk about that at some point in the future.
Okay.
So my number 49 is two games that are not by the same designer and are not by the same publisher, but in my mind, I never remember which is which, and they sort of fill the same niche for me. And that is Qwixx and Qwinto. Oh. And they're basically games where you've got a track of numbers, you're rolling your dice, you're filling in numbers. You can only go forward, you can't go backwards. So it's trying to, maximize the number of it's trying to maximize the numbers that you get without skipping too far ahead and losing out. But sometimes you have to make that choice. And so Qwixx is by Stefan Bendorf and Qwinto is by Oliver Freudrich. And they're by Gamewright and Pandasaurus, respectively. They're just really fun, satisfying, easy roll&writes. They're great to get to the table with non-gamers. Non-gamers can pick these up really quick and enjoy them. I know that we've played them with different family members who've loved them. And these are ones that we can almost always play. Regardless of how bad you feel, we can always get a game of Qwixx in if we want to do something.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue to my 49, because my number 49 is a game that we haven't played as much as I would like to, and part of the reason was because I was struggling with the rules for a while. My illness causes some brain fog, so and I'm improved enough now where I should be fine with it. And we need to get the table more, and that's Corinth. And this is from Days of Wonder. The designer is Sebastian Pauchon. Hopefully I said that correctly. And it's a really fun game. It's got a lot of good mechanics, and we just haven't played it enough. I really think it'll climb if we play it more.
Yep.
So, but basically you're building the city of Corinth, and you have a bunch of different... it's almost like worker placement without the worker placement.
Yeah.
Where you get to go to different sections, and so I guess it's action selection, but you're doing the different actions, and there's certain things you can get these bonus buildings that are like engine builders that let you do more. There's like a little map area where you can go and move around and get different bonuses. And then there's like, you can spend the coins you earn on these shops in the top left. So, you know, there's quite a bit to do, and it's quite interesting. So I think it is a fun game.
Yeah, that's a really good choice. I like that one. Might hear about it later again. So my number 48 is Deadly Doodles by Randy Schuneman from Steve Jackson Games. It's basically a maze. You're rolling dice to get through this maze. You're fighting monsters. You want to collect weapons and fight the monsters that match the weapons that you have. You get dinged with negative points if you collect a weapon and don't fight the monster, or encounter the monster and don't have the weapon. Again, it's a nice, easy, quick roll and write with a little bit of decision making about which entrance you're going to go in, what you're going to go for, because you can't do everything. That's always a good game where you can't do everything. So that's my number 48, and that is Deadly Doodles.
Yeah, it's a good choice. You know, it's not my favorite game, but I love the theme a lot. So
yeah.
It does well in that way, in that respect. My number 48 is our first crossover of the list.
Oh.
And it's a double crossover. I also put Qwinto and Qwixx as a single selection on my list, because they're very similar, and they're obviously the same line of games. And you know, what did I want to say about them? You play different numbers and you roll dice, and they're fun. They're easy. They're not spectacular, but they're totally accessible. And like you said, when all else is going wrong in the world and I'm as sick as I can be, we could still play a game of Qwinto or something. So
yeah,
they're really good in that. They were really good in that respect, and they got us through some difficult times.
Yeah, everybody should have one of these or both of these in their collection. Again, also easy to get to the table with people who don't game, because you can explain it in 30 seconds. They can pick it up and you can play, and they're quick and easy. So really, really solid games. Okay.
All right. What about your number 47?
My 47 is a print and play, and it is Mini Town. Mini Town is a grid. You've got 1 through 6 on the bottom, 1 through 6 on the top. You roll your 2 dice. One dice tells you what you're going to put in your town, and the other dice tells you where you're going to put it. So if you roll a 6, it's a shop, I think, and you have to put it, let's say you roll a 6 and a 2, you have to put a shop in row or column 2. It is from Dark Imp Games, designed by Ellie Dix. This again is a game that got us through some really tough times. It's pretty easy to get to the table. You're building a town. It's town building, which we really like. So it sort of filled that niche for us, and just it was really enjoyable. We just played it a whole ton.
Yeah, it's a super simple one. So even when we're at our worst, again, we can pick it up and play.
Yeah, yeah. And these games are just nice, even even if you're not sick. You know, I enjoy these games as just a nice way to scratch that itch for gaming when you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's from Dark Imp Games, and I think they have several good roll and writes. I'm not sure any made my list, and I really feel like Restaurant Entrepreneur should have. So maybe I made a mistake there, but definitely check them out.
Yeah, and they're online. They're print and play. You can go to their website and download and be playing in an instant.
Maybe I'll be making some last minute adjustments. I don't know. But my next game on my list is a print and play, and it's a free print and play that you can get online. And I really like the theme. and that's probably carrying it a fair amount, but it's a pretty good roll-write game, and that is Through the Appalachian. And it's about hiking the Appalachian Trail, and you basically you roll dice, and you can move a certain amount of spaces depending on the result of the dice along the trail. You're trying to land on different shelters. If you get on a shelter, you can do different things. Load up on water, load up on food, get your supplies. You can also fill in your journal. So there's all kinds of things you can do, and it plays really well. It's got a mechanism where you have to make sure you have water, and if you don't have enough water, then you get punished for it. So it's got that sort of system in there, like, because part of hiking a trail like the Appalachian Trail is managing your supplies, making sure you have enough water, making sure you have enough food, making sure you're warm enough. So it's pretty cool. It's got a weather mechanic as well. So it's a really neat game for a print and play. He got a lot into it, into a small package, and it's free. So you can go down. I believe it's free. So if not, we'll put this one. We can put the link in the description below.
Yep, great game. Really enjoy that as well. Did pack a lot into a little. My number 46 is Roll to the Top by Peter Kustra and Corne van Moorsel. This one is commercially produced. We backed it on Kickstarter. It's a small game. You get these little laminated sheets and that have a world icon on it, like the Eiffel Tower, and you're rolling dice and you have to go from low to high. There's a couple more complex ones that have a point where then you have to start going down, or you go up from the middle and down from the middle. But in general, it's just trying to maximize your dice rolls. You're playing with a set of 5 dice from a D4 to D20. And there's some player interaction where you remove 1 dice on your turn or add 1 dice. We just lock it on the screen so we don't have to pass around dice. The thing that I really love about this, that kind of puts this in my top, I think, is the fact that we also created some holiday versions for ourselves. So Jayne just took like a jack-o'-lantern and put boxes in so we have like a Halloween version. And I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't buy the game. You should always support the designers. But since we bought the game and all the expansions, I feel okay that we made some holiday versions for ourselves. So we played this with a ton of people before Jayne even got sick. And it really made the transition with us to chair games.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like that one a lot.
Yeah. All right. What's yours?
My number 46 is a game. At first, it didn't really hit with me for some reason, and I played it solo and I became addicted, and that is Encore.
It's a good game. I just am really bad at it.
But we do play it. I do enjoy it more with players now. It's like I had to play it solo to get really into it. But it does have a really fun solo mode. And it's basically you're rolling some dice. Yeah, you're rolling some dice, and there's colors and numbers. And then you're trying to fill in these colored grids, basically polyominoes. Mark them off, and if you have like a 4 blue, you can mark off a 4 blue polyomino. If you or a partial mark off a 5, if you want to be careful, you don't really want to mark off partials. So it's about managing all of that and managing the dice so that, like, if you mark off all your 4s and 5s early in the game, you get stuck later in the game. If you roll 4s and 5s, so you want to be very smart about what you do, and you could have dead turns, and that kind of sucks. Yep. But it's, if you plan well, you shouldn't have them, and it's a really fun game. It has jokers to help with that as well, so there's little wild choices you can make. So
I guess I don't plan well. It's a fun game. It is a really fun game. I just don't think I ever win this when we play it. So for whatever reason, I don't think it's
beat your own score, girl. Beat your own score.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my 46 Encore. And if you see it, I just wanted to note that on Amazon, it's like listed under a different name now. So they must have changed the name and marketing. So.
Okay. All All right, my number 45 is another print and play from Robin David. It is self-published, and it is Ada Lovelace, Legacy of the Analytical Engineer, or the non-legacy one, Consulting Mathematician. Yeah. This is a delightful little game where you are trying to fill in around shapes, and you roll your dice and you get polyomino shapes to fill in with, and you get special powers. I love anything that gives you special powers. You know, if you when you surround a shape, you can get something for it. The legacy game, which is really cool. It's a print and play little legacy roll and write. When you reach certain levels, you get another perk. You get another power. You get another, special shapes that you can fill in once a turn, or once a game, once a round, something like that.
Yeah, depending on the dice. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So it's
you
just
get to permanently change your rondelle is what you do.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. And was this free or did we buy it?
I want to say it was free, but if not, it was probably on Print and Play Arcade. We'll put up here the info on it.
And even the ones that we purchased are like $2. So totally worth it if you're really looking for some, nice, good print and plays at a very reasonable price. So that's Ada Lovelace, Legacy of the Analytical Engineer is my number 45.
That's a good choice. I really enjoyed that one as well. And my number 45 is a game. This is one I think we'll climb when we play it more. We only played it a couple times, and that is Paper Dungeons. This is basically it's a commercial release, and it's a dungeon crawl, and you have 4 little fighters, a band of fighters. One's a fighter, one's a wizard, et cetera, et cetera. And you're basically just trying to go through a dungeon, kill monsters, get as many experience points as you can, treasure, so that you can get as many points as you can, cast spells, etc. So it's a really fun game, and definitely recommend it. Definitely we need to play it more so we can get it further up the list, because I think it deserves to be further up the list. So
yeah, I can't remember if this is on my list. We've got a handful of games that are similar. They're roll and write dungeon crawl games, and I get them confused in my mind. And I really actually like them all. I really love the dungeon crawly roll and writes.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple more coming. So
yep. Okay. So my number 44 is one we backed on Kickstarter. It's a print and play from Alex Martinez and Roar Games, and that is Bako Dig and Write. This is relatively new to our collection, so I don't know whether it's going to go up or down, because it probably has some recency bias. But we have really enjoyed playing this game, and I am absolutely blanking on the mechanisms.
You have a grid, and you're doing a dig, but you're basically drawing polyomino shapes on the grid, and trying to maximize points. But it has an archaeology theme. It's really good, and I don't think it made my list, and that's how many good roll writes there are. I mean, there's just a bunch of good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm totally blanking. There's a reason I put it on my list, and I'm so sorry to Alex Martinez. I can tell you, though, it's a good game. I liked it enough to make my top 50, so check it out. It's available as a print and play. It's probably relatively affordable. Yep. I think it's under $5, so.
Yep. It's that outfit has made a couple good ones. They made a cooperative one, Kaikaro, that is also really fun. So I'm not sure if that made my list either. But, starting to question my list here. Okay, my number 43 is a game. 44? We're on 44.
Mm-hmm.
My number 44 is another dungeon crawl. It's Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. And this is a commercial game. This one designed by the infamous Richard Garfield. And it's a really fun one. Again, I think we haven't played this enough. I think it'll climb with more plays. We've played a little more than Paper Dungeons, but not too much more. And I think both of these games are going to climb with plays. I like dungeon crawls, and we just haven't played them enough. And again, this is one I was having trouble with the rules at a point.
Yeah.
During my nadir.
Yeah.
So You know.
Yeah, this is a really good one. You can only write next to a number that is sequential or the same. And so it really dictates where you can go. There's pre-printed numbers in some places on the sheet. So you really don't ever get stuck, but you have to be careful. And if there's something you really want to do, getting there can be kind of a trick. And so that's a lot of fun.
And you get little bonuses. So if you kill one little monster, that helps you against the big boss that you have to defeat in the end.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a good one. Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, number 44.
I remembered, I actually looked up Bako, Dig, and Write. And so the polyominoes represent fossils of various prehistoric creatures. And each one has like a power when you draw it, either a rule or a power or both, like can only be drawn next to this. You get extra points if you draw it next to, the same as itself. And so those extra placement mechanisms or placement rules just make it a little bit more make it a little bit more thinky, and make it give it some more game to it. So that's why I like Bako, Roll and Write. I had to look it up. I knew there was something about it I really liked. My number 43 is a crossover within this list, Through the Appalachian. Again, love the theme. You're hiking the Appalachian Trail, but there's so much in there. There's so many different things you can do. There's a lot of choices to make on every turn. As with a lot of these games, the more you do one thing, the more you maximize the points in there, but you also don't want to completely ignore another track. So it's finding that balance. And then making sure you have enough water to travel as far as you want to travel and enough energy, I think is super clever. When you do a rest at a rest stop, you get more water, you get more rest, you get more points for various things. So you really want to try to do your rests in those rest stops, which is kind of hard to do sometimes. And then of course the weather die, that's just a clever mechanism. And not all of the ones we mentioned so far today use a standard 6-sided die, but this one does. And so I just think there's a lot of cleverness embedded in there using just a 6-sided die in a either free or really inexpensive print and play.
Yeah, you just need a few different colors, like blue, orange, etc. So that works pretty well.
Yeah.
My 43 is from a famous designer who we love for his heavy farming games, and that is Uwe Rosenberg. And this game is Second Chance. And this is a real simple, and this is one we didn't adapt, but it'd be really easy to do, and we just haven't done it. But I like polyomino games, and it's a polyomino game. And of course, Uwe is known for his polyomino games as well. And this one, you're basically just flipping over a card, and you have a shape of a symbol you need to draw, and you're trying to fill in a grid as completely as possible with leaving as few empty spaces as possible. And basically, you win by doing that, having as few empty spaces as possible. So
yeah,
real simple. There's a similar dice-based game that's print and play called Black It Out that does similar stuff. And I just picked Uwe's game Second Chance because I like the card-based flip and write mechanism, but you get the idea.
Yep.
So,
and we've played a lot of Black It Out. Again, that one we had adapted. It's very easy. We didn't actually really need to do anything other than roll dice.
And the nice thing about Black It Out is he made a bunch of thematic ones. So if you like this kind of game, Black It Out, he has like a Christmas sheet, he has like a Halloween sheet, a spring sheet, et cetera, et cetera. So that gives you the similar flavor as the Uwe game. So Second Chance, Black It Out, both good games, and that's all. Yep. My number 43.
Okay. My number 42 is actually a commercially produced game from Haba, designed by Jürgen Grunau, and that is Finden. And this is, you have a cardboard laminate piece that you're drawing on, and it's got different color and shapes. It is colorblind friendly, which actually I really like because not all of these games are. Each square has a color and a shape in it. You roll your 5 dice. You're looking for a 5 square shape that matches the ones that were rolled. So if you roll 2 triangles, a circle, a hexagon and a diamond. You know, you're looking for any 5 connected. And the more kind of funky the shape is, the more points you get. There's a timer element to it. And you're trying to sort of beat your compatriot to find the most shapes with those 5 symbols for each round. And there's 5 or 6 rounds in the game.
I'm my compatriot now.
You are my compatriot, my I don't know, comrade in arms. Yeah, I really like this one. It's simple but vexing, and there's that just incredible satisfaction when you have a really good round and you find, you know, all the tough shapes versus the super easy ones, and you manage to have a really high scoring round. And so yeah, I really like it. Fiverr Finden.
All right, nice pick. My number 42 is a game, if you're looking for a little bit of that cartographer's feel, you know, map making and coloring and stuff. This game does that maybe not as well as cartographers, but it does it pretty well, and it's called Kingdom Maps, and it's a print and play roll and write game. You roll some 6-sided dice, and you have a map, and you're filling it in with you know, rivers and mountains and forests, and you're trying to maximize your score that has variable scoring, so that at the beginning of each game you roll some dice and you pick what the scoring conditions for that game are going to be. So they change from game to game, just as they might in cartographers. And this is obviously not as good as cartographers, but it gives you that feel if that's the kind of game that you love. And I do love me some cartographers and some cartography, and so this game's really fun, and it's a good game. Kingdom Maps.
Yeah, the other thing I should mention, this game, Black It Out to a lesser extent, it is, especially when she's having a bad day, kind of helpful to have slow turns and have some downtime between thinking. And so being able to draw the shapes, we often use like colored pencils or colored markers to fill in. If it's trees, we'll, you know, use green and brown to make the trees, and it kind of slows the pace of the game a little bit and makes it easier for her to play. Same with the ones where you color in, we'll, you know, color in the shapes, maybe stripe some, whatever, to kind of take some of the burden off of her brain from moving too quickly. And so and I enjoy it. I love that. I'm just sit there and color while we play. They're just nice, relaxing games, sort of a little bit of Zen meditation in the middle of them.
And she's very patient. Anyway,
I just enjoy them.
That's my 42, Kingdom Maps.
Okay, so my 41 is another print and play. We're heavy on the print and plays down here. Polyhedral Park Planner.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you have a grid of, I don't know how many squares, maybe 100 squares, and they have numbers in them, and you're rolling 5 die of various shapes. I think, is it D4 through D20 in this one again, or no? I can't remember.
Yeah, you use basically a combo of dice, different dice. I don't remember the exact dice, but it's basically like your standard D&D set for the most part.
Yeah, and so in order to draw in any shape, you have to spend the number of, you know, pips or points that you have on your die. So if it's you're writing a 6 shape, you have to have either 6 die or 2 3s or a 4 and a 2, or something like that. It has to be exact. And then you're drawing shapes that go from 1 to 20 or 24 plus, and you have to spend that number to draw that shape. So of course it's, you know, the one that's the cheapest might be a path or a park bench or something. Those are really easy to get on the map, but they'll be lower scoring. And so it's variable scoring conditions. You'll pick the scoring conditions for every game. And then you'll roll your dice for a certain number of rounds and try to maximize the points by spending your dice correctly. It's just and there's like 100 maps. There are so many different variations on this. And it's just the numbers that move around on it, but it's really cool. I really enjoy it. It's, again, I love drawing maps or making a city or filling in that grid with not just polyominoes, but like things, lakes and trees and benches and whatnot, paths.
it's a print and play, and we just put cards in a Google spreadsheet and randomize that way so that you can do your goals for the game.
Right, and we don't have to be at the same table.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is my number 41. Justin Schroeder, self-published, Polyhedral Park Planner.
Okay, my number 41 is a commercial game again. This one's from Alley Cat Games, and it's called Café. And it's pretty fun. It's got little cat towers, and you're filling them in based on dice and trying to get as, I was like, for a second, I don't know, I doubted myself, but and trying to get different combos to score points. You know, like if you get a certain scoring condition, you want to have cats that are adjacent to each other and have these certain, you know, kind of bowls or, you know, whatever. So there's different ways it scores. And then you score each tower, and, you know, at the end of the game, you get points for all that. It's a pretty straightforward game, but it's fun, and we really enjoy it. And I do recommend it. So.
And I'm terrible at this game.
Are you?
Another one, yeah.
Anyway.
I feel like the games that I never win just aren't going to be on my list, with a few exceptions.
Possibly. So, but anyway, that's our 41 to 50 really verb and verbs, flip and writes, roll and writes. And we're going to continue this list. But also, we're going to be putting up some videos on adaptations we did to play these games while I was really ill. And maybe those will be useful for some of you battling your own illnesses or disabilities of whatever kind.
Yeah, so let us know what roll and writes you like, especially if you have some print and plays that we haven't talked about. Those can be harder to find. They're sometimes more obscure. So let us know what you like, and if you've tried any of these games, which are your favorite.
And please like and subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.